Directions for your Picasso-inspired guitar. Name and teacher code on the back. To start our background, you can use a pencil for this if you want, but you will divide up your paper with approximately 6 lines. Then you can add color however you choose, but you must color in at least 3 spaces with crayon, but not less. You can use markers as well. When you begin adding color, add some additional lines with the coloring supply you're using. And what this does is it hides the lines where you cut. Eventually you'll cut and glue your guitar on the very last step. And when you do this, you're not going to have the drawn edges. So in order to kind of make it look like one, you will do extra lines with crayons and markers. Make sure that your coloring is nice and dark. If you're using markers, be sure to use the side of the chisel tip to create wide lines for much nicer, neater coloring. This also actually goes quicker than coloring back and forth. If you're using a Crayola marker, the chisel tip's a little bit different. It's more of a triangle shape, but still the same process where you use the side of the chisel tip to create lines in your coloring spaces with marker. Go ahead and continue adding color all over your paper and adding additional sections with either crayons or markers. Don't forget your name and teacher code. Position your guitar stencil at an angle in the middle of your paper. Be sure to make sure that it's fitting. And then carefully trace around the guitar shape. The neck of the guitar gets a little bit wiggly, so go extra slow here. And remember, you can use a pencil first instead if you choose. When you've completed tracing your guitar, you're going to add some piano keys using a ruler that is right up next to the edge of your paper. Once again, if you want to use a pencil here, you can, but I'm just going to go right to my paper with a Sharpie. And you're basically just putting the ruler up as high as it will fit. There isn't a special length. Even on the top, same thing. Just put it up next to that edge and carefully trace as large as you would like in the space that's available. Then you'll add lines for the piano keys. Once again, if you want to use pencil, that's fine. I'm just going to use Sharpie right here. And your lines should be about a finger's amount of space apart. And they don't have to be perfectly straight. Eventually, we're going to cut all these pieces out, so it's okay if they're a little wobbly. Now to create the black keys, you're going to create a pattern of doing 2 little black keys, skipping a line, and doing 3 little black keys, and just continuing the pattern on both parts. As I said, if you goof, it's totally fine because eventually we'll cut these out and no one's going to see. For the next step, you may want to switch to pencil. Then we'll start adding some details to our guitar. So start at the top and add kind of like little rainbow shapes or C-curve shapes that your finger can fit inside of. If you want to be more specific and add more, you can. And then we'll add the kind of plate shape that's in the middle of our guitar. And you're kind of just mimicking the shape of your guitar. So here I'm creating a hill and a dip and a hill and a dip, and I'm just going around to kind of create this similar shape to the guitar, but smaller. Then we'll add kind of a rounded rectangle shape near the bottom where the strings will attach. And I think it's easier when I'm drawing the center parts of my guitar to turn my paper, but you don't have to. And after you've created your kind of rounded rectangle, add your knobs and then add your strings. And as I've said, don't worry if your lines aren't perfectly straight and if your lines aren't perfect, because you will not see it when you eventually, on the last day of this project, cut everything out and glue it together. And be sure to go back and retrace any pencil lines that you may have missed. Then go ahead and add some color with crayons and markers. Once your background and your guitar are complete, you're going to cut your guitar and piano keys out. Remember to turn your paper using your paper hand and little snips with your scissor hand, keeping that elbow down. Then you will section your guitar, cutting about 3 to 4 snips going different directions. Same thing with your piano keys. Then using small dots of glue, you'll go around the edge and you'll glue your guitar and piano keys anywhere you choose on your paper. I like to try and put the pieces that are not matching my background on top of the colors on my background. So my guitar is yellow and green, so I put it near the top where I didn't have yellow and green. And it's even neat to do some overlapping as well. Go ahead and continue until you have all of your pieces all glued down. Once they're glued down, carefully turn over your paper and gently rub the back, then place it on the drying rack.